They said I was working too hard. For what? No paycheck. No title. No applause. Just me and my laptop. Every night, every weekend, eyes burning under a flickering desk lamp. They don't promote passion, they laughed. They promote results. But what they didn't see was that something was building beneath the surface, invisible but growing. They mocked the silence, the absence of proof, the long hours I couldn't explain. It wasn't failure. It was foundation. And the moment it all shifted was a Thursday morning. Unknown number. Palo Alto area code. Hi, this is Maya from Google. Do you have a few minutes to talk? My name is Jordan Ellis, I'm 29, and I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And this is how everything changed. I was supposed to be the golden child, the one who made it. Straight A's, debate team, full ride to Duke. My parents used to beam when they introduced me. This is Jordan. She's pre-law. I was on track. Classes, internships, networking mixers in stiff blazers. I smiled through all of it. But something didn't fit. It wasn't burnout at first, it was numbness. Then came the crash. Anxiety attacks in library stalls. Missed deadlines. The internship I thought would make me ended with a quiet email. We've decided to move forward with other candidates. I didn't tell my family right away. I let them believe I was still in the game. Until the questions came. How's the law firm going? Still working toward the bar, right? I'd mumble something vague. And their replies were even more painful. She's just figuring it out. It's probably just a phase. My dad stopped asking altogether. My mom started introducing me as between things. No one asked what I was really doing. No one saw the late nights I spent learning to code on borrowed Wi-Fi. I was rewriting my life, but in invisible ink. I picked up small gigs, random tech support jobs, and online courses. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't loud, but it was mine. I started over. Quietly. And no one really noticed. My first job in tech didn't have a title. Just a Craigslist ad. Seeking someone patient to help seniors navigate basic computer skills. I responded out of desperation, more than hope. The pay was low. The hours odd. But it was something. They assigned me to a local community center. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Folding chairs and dusty keyboards. I'd sit with people like Mrs. Keller, 81, sharp as a tack, terrified of the mouse. This machine hates me, she muttered that first day. I laughed and said, then let's teach it some manners. It started small, opening emails, attaching photos. But something shifted when she learned to video call her son in Oregon. You brought my baby into my living room, she whispered, tears welling up. Her hand, wrinkled and shaking, pressed gently over the laptop screen. That night, I cried in my car. Not out of sadness, but release. For the first time in a long time, something I did mattered. So I leaned into it. I built simple tools to help the sessions, like a big button launcher app. I called it BrightBridge. Just a hobby at first, but the seniors loved it. They told their friends, and their friends told their centers. By the end of the year, I had over 400 monthly users. No ads, no press, just word of mouth. I wasn't making much, but I felt rich in ways I couldn't explain. It was strange how something so small and unremarkable could start to feel like a reason to get up in the morning. It didn't make headlines, but it mattered. BrightBridge kept growing. What started as a side tool for Mrs. Keller and her friends turned into a real platform. I redesigned the interface, added multilingual support, and partnered with a few local senior centers. We were onboarding over 1,200 seniors per month by mid-year. Our email open rate? 78%. That's higher than some Fortune 500 companies. I even began consulting for nonprofit organizations focused on digital inclusion. They'd invite me to speak on Zoom panels. How can we bridge the generational tech divide? I didn't have polished slides or buzzwords. I just told them about Mrs. Keller and people listened. A tech blog featured BrightBridge. An angel investor offered to help me scale. I finally started making enough to move out of my roommate's place. got a tiny studio, a real desk, a real chair. Still, when I called home, the questions were the same. So, when are you going back to law school? Is that app thing still just a side gig? I'd try to explain how I'd helped a World War II veteran send a video birthday message to his granddaughter, how we'd partnered with a city council program to digitize benefits access for low-income seniors, how we were changing lives quietly but tangibly. But my dad would just nod and say, "Well, as long as you're doing something with your time." And my brother? He worked for a logistics firm, wore a suit every day. Teaching old folks to click buttons, he smirked. Real noble work. Family dinner that Christmas was the worst. Everyone talked about promotions, new houses, Roth IRAs. I mentioned that BrightBridge hit 10,000 active users, and the table went silent. Not hostile, just indifferent. They didn't understand. I didn't blame them. But it hurt. Because while the outside world was starting to recognize my effort, the people who raised me still saw me as the one who fell off track. The almost success. The creative one. I stopped trying to impress them. Stopped explaining metrics they'd never respect. Instead, I poured everything into the work. New features. New partnerships. Late nights again. But this time, they felt purposeful. I wasn't waiting for recognition anymore. I was building something that made a difference. Even if no one at home ever noticed. I was thriving outwardly, but still invisible where it mattered most. It was a rainy Tuesday morning when I got the message. Someone named Ava Linwood had filled out the BrightBridge contact form. Short, polite. "Hi, I was wondering if we could schedule a quick call. My brother's fiancée used your platform with her grandmother, and she hasn't stopped talking about it." I almost dismissed it. There were always little notes, thank yous. But something about this one stuck. We scheduled a call for the next morning. 10 a.m. sharp. Zoom. I clicked in early. Wore my usual hoodie, hair in a loose bun, tea beside the monitor. She logged on right at 10. Blonde bob, sharp glasses, San Francisco skyline behind her. "Hi, Jordan," she smiled. "Thanks for making time." Her voice was warm, but her tone was precise. Professional. "So, I'm a hiring manager at Google. I work on digital inclusion initiatives within google.org. My chest tightened. Normally we have a pipeline and protocols, but your name's come up twice this month. Once from a nonprofit partner. And again, just last week, from a colleague's fiancé who helped her grandma navigate health benefits using BrightBridge. I blinked. She kept talking. Calm, clear. She didn't even know the name of the app at first. Just kept saying, that simple screen. Those soft colors. It made everything feel possible. My eyes started to burn. When I dug in, I found your GitHub, your interviews, your feature on digital humans. Jordan. She paused. You built this by yourself? I nodded. Slowly. Yes. I had help, but it was just me, mostly. Nights. Weekends. She smiled gently now. We've got a fellowship. It's competitive, but I'd love to fast-track you into consideration. Paid. Relocation optional. We want people who build with heart. For a moment, I couldn't speak. I just stared at her on the screen, my breath shallow. I thought of Mrs. Keller, of the silent dinners with my family, of all the times I almost quit. I'm sorry, I finally said, voice cracking. It's just people have told me this wasn't real work for so long. Ava leaned closer, eyes kind. Then it's time someone told you the truth. We talked for another 30 minutes. About values, vision, impact. When the call ended, I just sat there. In my tiny apartment. In my hoodie. While the rain tapped the window like soft applause. I didn't scream. I didn't post. I didn't even call my parents. I just breathed. For the first time in a long, long while. A week later, I got the offer in writing. Title, Strategic Fellow, Digital Equity Labs. Team, google.org. Salary, more than I'd ever imagined. But what meant the most? That Ava, this stranger, had seen me, had read between the lines, had heard the quiet echo of effort no one else noticed. Not because I demanded attention, but because the truth walked in by itself and refused to stay quiet. The first person I told wasn't my mom or my dad. It was Mrs. Keller. I drove to the center in person. She still came in on Thursdays, still wore her blue cardigan with the frayed sleeve. When I told her, she grabbed my hands and whispered, "You always had something they couldn't measure." Then she hugged me longer than I expected, and I let her. My mom found out through my cousin, who saw the announcement online. I got a voicemail later that day. "Jordan, I didn't realize it was this serious. I'm proud of you. We all are." I didn't return the call right away. Not out of spite. I just didn't need it anymore. A week later, a letter came in the mail. From my brother. No return address, just his handwriting. Inside, a single line. "Guess I was wrong. You were building something real all along." I folded the note and slid it into the drawer where I keep my old planners. Didn't frame it. Didn't post it. Just kept it. Because here's what I've learned. Closure doesn't always come loud. Sometimes it arrives in soft notes, warm hands, and quiet apologies. I didn't need a stage or a family dinner full of applause. I just needed to know, within myself, that I hadn't wasted my time, that the work mattered, and I mattered. It wasn't pride. It was peace. And peace feels like silence that doesn't ache anymore. If you've ever felt overlooked, if your work was mocked, or your dreams called a hobby, this story is for you. Because sometimes, the biggest victories aren't explosive. They arrive like whispers, not fireworks. And sometimes you grow in the shadows before anyone notices the bloom. They mocked my work ethic. They laughed at how small it all seemed. But they never saw the roots forming beneath the surface. You don't need the loudest applause. You need the truest purpose. So if you're still building, still trying, still unseen, don't stop. There's someone out there who will recognize you. Maybe not today. Maybe not anyone you know. But they're coming. And when they do, it'll feel like exhale after years of holding your breath. Tell me your story. Where are you watching from? What are you creating that no one claps for yet? You're not alone. You're not invisible. And your quiet work might just change someone's world. Thank you for listening. More stories, real ones, are coming soon.